Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here. This is your Planning Outlook video on Friday the 8th of March. It's going to be a complicated and wintry outlook over the next week ahead, with a powerful westerly airstream across the British Isles. We'll see showers, we'll get snow and hail, at times some more organised zones of snow around as well. Some windy conditions, stormy at times as low pressure systems move through. Just the hint of less cold conditions developing after midweek, but there's still the scope even beyond mid-March for something colder to come back. So prepare for the mountains to be in winter mode. These are the temperatures at 850 millibars, and that's pretty representative of the highest tops in Scotland. It's between around 1100 and 1400 metres over these next few days ahead. Values then below -5 at that level through this weekend. Freezing levels dropping increasingly as we go through Saturday into Sunday. So the greater risk of snow and hail falling right down to valley or glen level, and temperatures on Ben Nevis, Cairngorm, we might find -7 if this modelling is correct. We'll have a look at the observations, of course, as we go through the weekend. Now onwards into the start of the new week, and less cold air starts to move its way in. We start to see a more powerful Atlantic low come through, so a lift of freezing levels for a time as we head through Monday into Tuesday. A little bit of a mess then in terms of the extent of cold air through this period. It may well be that most of the higher mountains still stay sub-zero, and freezing levels probably dropping again as that system pulls away eastwards, before tending to rise in the second half of the week. And it might be that we see some cycles of freeze and thaw even up to the highest tops in Scotland, probably only just lifting above freezing on those very highest tops. The scope beyond that to pull a renewed northwesterly back down after mid-month. That's all rather a long way off at the moment. We've got plenty of complications in the short term. First of all, Saturday sees that westerly flow in charge. Low pressure is towards the north, another developing feature moving in from the southwest later on. We've got showers. We may have some more organised zones of snow across the hills, rain lower slopes across the Pennines and the Lake District as little features run away eastwards within that westerly flow. Severe gales across the Scottish tops in the morning will tend to ease as the day goes on. Now, Sunday is a very complicated one at this stage. The computer models have a lot to take on board before we get the handle on this one, so keep an eye on the latest forecasts. It's small-scale areas of low pressure and bits of fronts tangled within that westerly flow that could just organise themselves locally into some more persistent snowfalls across the hills. That's almost anywhere from the south and southwest of the Scottish Highlands to the lakes and Pennines, and the snow likely to come down to pretty low levels, with the freezing levels having dropped by this stage. Away from that, it'll be a story of showers, and those will be of some snow and some hail. The risk of gales for some, but if you get in the centre of one of those lows, you might find that the winds drop out quite a bit for a good many hours. Now Monday, relatively speaking, looks more straightforward in some ways, in that it's a bigger zone of higher pressure that just nudges its way northwards temporarily. It's still a cold and fairly unstable air mass though, so there's still showers to be around, chiefly across western hills, maybe most frequent in Scotland, tending to fade a little bit through the day. Temperatures lifting a touch, but still sub-zero on most of the mountains. Notice a warm front that's just starting to appear on the far western side of the map. That will be moving in by Monday evening and night. So by Tuesday, we've got a rapidly developing area of low pressure moving in from the Atlantic. The detail is uncertain, but the risk of widespread gales and extensive rain, snow on higher areas may be lifting those freezing levels as the warm sector moves through. Uncertainty as to what extent any milder air gets its way northwards. Still the risk of some extensive snow over the higher mountains by this stage, and clusters of showers will follow from the west. So there's the situation as we head into midweek. That area of low pressure from Tuesday will move towards the North Sea. Northwesterly winds will follow behind it. How quickly it gets out of the way is important in terms of how the forecast then pans out in the second half of the week. Briefly, we might see a drop of freezing levels again on the back edge of that system. It looks as though then higher pressure nudging towards us from the Azores is just trying to push less cold air in our direction. It's still a westerly pattern, but the air mass coming from a milder source by this time. So a chance for a few days in the second half of the week of freezing levels lifting maybe towards higher tops. Still pretty unsettled. Fronts will come in from the Atlantic. There'll be some rain, maybe some snow over the higher ground, the very highest ground at this time. And then what happens into the weekend and beyond is uncertain, of course, but it just hints that the high pressure system starts to build a bit further out to the west of us, and it allows the airflow to tip back around to more of a northwesterly. And if it does, we could find that those freezing levels and temperatures come back down again, heading beyond mid-month. And this is just one of the indications that we've got heading beyond mid-month. That's the 7-day pressure averages, the anomalies, through until the 21st of March. And it suggests that higher pressure builds a bit more strongly to our west. Low pressure is around Scandinavia, and the prevailing airflow is something of a northwesterly, with the scope for colder air masses to dominate, maybe some variations from day to day, but not really anything coming in from genuinely mild directions, so we're still looking at some wintry patterns, I would have thought, even beyond mid-month. So some ups and downs of temperatures over the next 10 days or so, some severe days in there at times as well, with both wind and snow across the mountains, so be aware of that and keep a close eye on your latest forecasts. We'll update this video again for you on Tuesday. Thanks for watching, bye for now.